it's me again, and it's time for another thrilling edition of Comics and Cocktails, where I drink more alcohol than I rightfully should at whatever time it is on a Wednesday night, and talk about comics. Talk about comics. Today's cocktail is green tea and peach flavored vodka, which I suppose you could use peach schnapps or any vaguely peach flavored thing. And I have sugar, but simple syrup or honey might work better. But anyway, that's the drink, and it tastes pretty good. And I was helping my throat, which was sore earlier. So, Also cold, which is going to be a running theme until summer comes back, as it appears to be completely over, and warmth has left the northern hemisphere. So, that's today's cocktail. Today's comics are, representing Marvel, we have Illuminati #1, which is technically all new, all different Illuminati, or whatever the fuck kind of titles are. This features the Hood, who's a supervillain introduced a few years back. Never got too much popularity, but he's a crime lord type character. My friend got me into him, and so I purchased the comic book series. I've read a couple of things with Hood in it before this. I've started purchasing this series because my friend was interested and said he couldn't buy it, and so I was going to buy it for him, but then he said his other friend was going to buy it for him, and I was like, no, you can't do that because you'll spoil my surprise. So, I don't know how I feel about this art right away is like my first thought, because #1, Titania seems to alternate between like looking vaguely constipated and like, see, vaguely constipated right there too, and looking like wistfully into the distance. Constipated. Actually, she mostly just looks constipated. Here's like the vaguely wistful face. She-Hulk's barely in it. And basically the story is Hood is setting up a thing and doing stuff to be crime lordy, which is surprising because last time you've seen in comics, I think he was in jail or something. I don't know. I didn't read that many Hood comics. Also, he seems to have gotten over his, thoughts on unnecessary kills since the last time we saw him. So that's interesting. That did not happen. It's okay. Looks like it might be an okay series. Could go very south very quickly though, so I'm tentatively hopeful. If nothing else, there will be a very satisfying moment where Titania punches Hood in the face because he lied to her. And that will be very nice. Because if there's any character in comic books that needs more punches in the face, it's a lot of them. But one of them is Hood. So next up we have DC Comics, Bombshells. I don't remember what I said about the series before, but I remember thinking vaguely, mostly from the covers and from, the Bombshells, like, merchandising, and from my brother-in-law, who's into both, DC and, this sort of aesthetic, partially because of Playboy bunnies, from, like, old school Playboy bunnies. I was a little bit wary of the series because it seemed like it would be just, like, fan service. But I actually enjoy it so far. There's a fair bit of fan service, but it's not just fan service. And Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor's storyline is dealing with like PTSD. Got these two dealing with Russia. It's just it's a fun AU, basically. If you like AU fanfics, then this is a good one. I like it because, unlike most of the DC things I've started to read lately, you don't have to understand what's been going on in DC for any amount of time, ever. Like, most of my DC reviews, fall a little bit flat because I've spent most of it trying to figure out why is this happening? What led us to this point? But I know these characters. Like, take my Catwoman review from whenever I did a Catwoman review. Like, I knew all these characters, but I had no idea why they were doing what they were doing. This, I know all these characters, and they're in a World War II AU with, gratuitous, skimpiness. So, whatever you call this art style, I forget. But yeah, so, I enjoy it because I know the characters well enough to follow the story, and it's just kind of fun. I don't really need too much brain to process this. So, representing the other category, because we actually have that this week, we have Red Conan and Sonja. Wait. Red Sonja and Conan. It says so on the title, so you think I could read that. This is one of the series that is way too much narration. Like, imagine if you're watching a TV show or a movie and the narrator keeps fucking explaining the plot instead of just, showing you what's going on. This is that in comic book form, and it's annoying. And I at least understand what's going on because they fucking exposition everything until, I'm tired of it. I feel like this issue and the issue before it, I didn't really like them too much because they had too much Conan and not enough Red Sonja. I feel like if you're gonna do a paired series like this, you should give them about equal amounts of doing stuff instead of Conan doing stuff and then Sonja shows up and makes a witty comment. I don't know. I feel like you could do more with Red Sonja. Just from my knowledge of Red Sonja from Gail Simone's Twitter feed, which is where I initially learned about Red Sonja. If you were curious. So that's about all I have to say for the reviews. I'm gonna have to give the winner to DC Bombshells with a solid 7 out of 10. And, no, I'll give them an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for them. They get a B. Good job. Illuminati, I'm going to give a solid, 6.5. No, I'll give them a solid 7 because it does make me want to read the next issue. But I am tentative to give them a higher score because I'm very concerned that the next issue might suck. Or that future issues might suck. And they might, completely ignore, Parker, that's Hood's real name. Is that Janet? No, that's not Janet. Or Hope. Who the fuck is this? Somebody explain to me, please. Anyway. Somebody seems to have failed to explain to the artist that Parker Robbins is 20-something. Because in this, he looks like he's 50. And that's not good. So, I feel like they might not be entirely accurate to his character. And I'll give these guys a 6.5. No, I'll give them a 7 too. I'll give them a 7 out of 11. So they're slightly below on the scale than Illuminati. Mostly just because there's too much talking. And that's all I have for today. I'm gonna go curl up under a giant comforter instead of this pleasingly colored but not very warm blanket. Bye!